I'm Caz Parker for MMH, the home of rock radio, and I'm joined today by frontman and guitarist Norman Matthew from Texas duo As Strange as Angels. Hi, and today we're here to talk about something exciting: the release of your latest single and video, "The Curse." So, hi, thank you for joining.
Hi,
Welcome, welcome.
hello. Send me some cold, please, from
I'm
from UK,
You can
please.
have some of it, definitely. Somewhere in between the 2, I think, would be perfect, but, so how are you, and how are you finding life in the States at the moment?
I am good. Um, I stay pretty to myself as it is, always locked away in a studio,
So
just
no
working on
change
music.
then?
Yeah, right. Just constantly working, creating. I literally just finished a theme song for a new wrestling TV show, which I'm a super wrestling fan, and a couple entrance themes for some wrestlers. One of them being this wrestler Gangrel from the Brood from back in the day. So I'm very excited about
Amazing.
that for me. I love all of that kind of stuff. So I'm just constantly working and creating and just kind of living in my own little bubble.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's awesome. I didn't know that about the wrestling thing. That's incredible. So, I mean,
Thank you.
I guess then that answers one of my questions. I guess the current way of life hasn't massively impacted on you. Has it impacted on anything that you're writing about?
It's weird. I mean, we for the band, we were doing really well 2019.
Yeah.
2020, I mean, we were coming up. We had the rocket strapped to us, if you will, right? And we were getting all these festival offers. We were excited to come over and visit all our friends in the UK again. Hey, hey. And then all of a sudden, the pandemic just happened, and for that side of it, it was pretty disappointing because I mean,
Yeah.
much worse things have happened to people than just not being able to play some shows, right? But for us, that was probably a big change because we were ready to get there. It was in forward motion for us. We had been pushing forward. I had taken a break from my own music from before for a handful of years and just focused on my little boy who was 2 years old at the time when I was getting
Yeah.
divorced, and I wanted to be super dad, right? And I didn't want
Yeah.
to mess that up, but through just watching him and spending time with him, it was like he re-inspired me to get into music. So
Yeah.
I got into my own music. So seeing it all happen and was like, oh my God, we're gonna go back over. Like I'm gonna get to see, you know, all my favorite places like overseas again, play some festivals again. Like it's gonna be awesome, right? And then everything just
Yeah.
the brakes got pumped. So it did take the wind out of the sails there, but it did get into the creativity because I was able to, I'm lucky enough to have my own studio that I was able to just create more, do more stuff, get into more projects, and really just release more music or prepare more music for release than I had like thought of, which was cool. And I mean, I guess sometimes you don't think about how much of a blessing, that is as well, right?
Yeah.
We kind of get in the cycle, release tour, release tour,
Yeah.
release tour. And I was like, well, now I'm kind of we're all in the same boat, which is
Yeah.
weird. It has leveled the playing field to a certain degree, right?
It
So
has
that's kind of cool
actually.
too,
And like you
you know?
say, I think the sensible thing to do is embrace that time out and do more writing and put more into it because like you say, sometimes you are busy doing things, doing here, there, and everywhere and organizing tours and stuff. And I hear musicians say they haven't got the time sometimes to write because they're so busy with the
Hmm.
stuff they've already written and performing it and things. So I think it is a different way of, well, it's a way of embracing it. It was forced on us. There's nothing we can do about it. So you've either got to fight it, which you can't, or go with it and make something good come out of it. And I can assure you, from a fan point of view, one thing that's kept us going during this time is when our musicians are releasing music because we've
Hmm.
probably got more time to listen to new music than we have under normal circumstances as well. So I think it works both ways, as I say, as long as you embrace
Absolutely.
it and get on with it. So, no, okay.
I think it has changed, like fans, like people that love music, you know what I mean? Like, as I mean, I'm a musician, but I'm a fan of music too, right?
Yeah.
Like it's changed our listening habits. I definitely see it. I missed the time of being able to like put on a record, right? And like put
Yeah.
on your headphones and just listen. And now I'm like, wow, I have the opportunity to do that again. I have the opportunity to deep dive into something, and then something, my drummer and I really embraced was the internet side of things, where we're like, you know what? We also have our own stage because in our studio we have a bunch of different like rehearsal rooms and stages and
Right.
stuff, and so we can do full on productions. So we were like,
Amazing.
let's start doing our own live shows and these live streams and just content. I mean, just left and right, which is kind of cool. I got into making videos with something that I never wanted to do because it seems like
Yeah.
the most painful thing in the world.
Yeah.
But I got into that as well. And so it's really given me a different creative outlet, and it's inspired some of the music too, in ways that I wouldn't have written before, that I'm like, you know what, now I feel like for whoever will listen to what I'm doing, it's even more important than ever that I say something that is inspirational, like motivating and relevant as well, and a little less me and a little more about the we. So it was cool to be able to like dig into that as well.
Wow, that's incredible, actually. And I think
Oh, thank
we've sort of, yeah, there's a few things that I was going to talk about that you've probably already covered, but I suppose what it relates to as well, what you just said is how we discovered you in the first place. Because I discovered you because my friend Tina, who you know, discovered you. Who
you.
we love.
Et.
Tina. So,
Yo.
so Tina played you on her show, and she'd said to me, "You've got to check out this band." She
That's so
discovered
awesome.
you because again, she had time to just mooch around the internet, mooch around, like you say, it's almost a rabbit hole. You hear one thing, and then that can lead you on to another thing and another. You know, there's like a whole succession of videos or tracks that will follow, and that's she happened upon you. She was blown away, and I suppose, the more she told me about your story, the more interesting it got. Because you've had a really prolific career. So you've shared the stage with the likes of Rob Zombie, Korn, Hailstorm, the Deftones, and that's just to name a few. And I know that the last time you toured the UK, I believe, was with your former band Murder FM.
Mhm.
So obviously that leads you here. All of this stuff leads you here to the current format, the two piece, you and Michelle on drums. And I believe I'm right in saying you're at 2 EPs and 5 singles under your belt at the moment. Have I got my maths right? Because something like
Yes.
that. I double checked with Tina because I wasn't quite right, so I'm gonna give her credit where it's due because I was like, "Why would I quote
Look
numbers
at
if
her
I
go.
can't add
She's
up?"
on
So
point.
again, high five, Um, but obviously you're making some really good waves in the US as well. So, I think, what was I gonna say next? Yeah, so yeah, the curse. Let's talk about the curse a little bit. So it featured number 4 on the Billboard charts for most added and number 11 for most increased plays as well. So, you've already got all this stuff going on under your belt. Like you say, the whole process and coming together and the stuff that you're writing about at the moment suits the lifestyle that we have, and I suppose it's inspiring you a little bit more. You mentioned the video as well. I was going to say, how multi-talented are you? Because the video for the curse is incredible.
Thank
Um,
you.
so yeah,
Uh,
well done on that.
Thank you very much. And thank you for saying that. I don't know that it's either like talent or just like luck, right? Um, because I
Not luck,
just
it's
kind
never
of,
luck. You make your own luck.
well, thank you so much.
I think
I
Bon
just,
Jovi said that.
right. Yeah, he may have said that, or maybe even poison,
Yeah, they probably did as well.
right? I remember Brett Michaels saying something like that when I was like in junior high or something. He's like, we had to make our own luck because no one liked us.
Yeah.
Um, but it, putting it all together was super fun because I had fallen back in love with music, and that was something that I missed.
Yeah.
Starting music at a very young age, and like professionally at a young age, and like I mean, I had a developmental deal with Capitol Records, and I think I might have been like 17 years old,
Wow.
and being on all those big tours, they were all super great. But I think in the process, took some time to mature. It took some time for certain things to set in. Um, and then going through what I went through in my personal life, it was like as strange as angels. I wanted it to be completely different on every level, right? So, back in Murder FM, which by the way, I miss how everyone says Murder FM in the UK. I just think it sounds so cool. um, I was like, covered in liquid latex, like black paint, like, eyeshadow and eyeliner. I mean, we were just crazy looking fools, right? And it was very character driven. And I don't know that I was saying anything other than whatever could get a crowd riled up, right? It was all about good
Yeah.
times and fun and let's just crazy. And that was fun about that band. But one of the big challenges, coming out of that and going through the things I went through in my personal life was like, how do I write something that can make an impact now?
Yeah.
And how can I convey that message? And I missed being that 13-year-old boy in my parents' basement that just played music for the sake of playing music,
Yeah.
not for, how big can we get? How much money can we make? Which just being excited to play a backyard show in somebody's house, And so I wanted to get back to that. And I think that's part of where I say, I mean, I guess it could be talent, but it's also just like I was excited again. And so I feel like that comes across um in the music. I think it connects to a listener
Yeah.
because there's a lot of that for me in a way that I was never able to. I didn't know how. There wasn't that level of like, how do I say something that's going to connect to the other person on
Mm.
the other side? And how do I kind of like reach out and like tap your soul and connect us? So
Yeah.
when you're listening to our music, you feel like, man, I feel like I know this guy
Yeah.
and I feel like I know what he's saying. And so that was something really big that I wanted to do because I wanted to feel that maybe it was being alone, just my son and I, that created that feeling of I want to connect to someone and something on a deeper level, right? So in doing that with the music, it was like, how do I pull that out? And then I wanted to keep it real intimate too. So and different. So yes, it's just my drummer and I. We maybe have people play live depending on the
Yeah.
shows, but I wanted to have something different. I wanted to visually, the second you see the band, you're like, that's just a girl and a dude, and that's it. And I also wanted to send the message that women kick ass. And for
Yeah.
me, I was like, even in the visual, right? I was like, I want to have it like she is just as much of a part as what I do. And I wanted to fly the flag for that sort of empowerment as well. I wanted just as strange as angels to mean something as deep as it could. So even if the band isn't big, I want it to mean something to the people that do listen,
Yeah.
which is it's so awesome when I hear things like with Tina and I mean so many other people. We get messages that just like your song never broken, mirror mirror, like the curse, like where are you coming up with this? And it's like I'm just really like gutting myself, and again because I want that deeper connection, and I want to make that connection. So that I think comes through in the music and it comes through like in the visuals as well. And there's a lot of stuff. I mean, the curse is pretty quirky of a video. Kind of artsy fartsy for me. But
Oh.
I wanted to be different. The
Mm.
thing is like when we're talking about the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, everyone's going to be making videos now. Everyone's going to be releasing music. Everyone's going to be doing live stream stuff. What can we do that will set us aside from the pack that whether you like it or not, you're going to look, right? So my
Yeah.
first big thing was like, how about we make a video where the band isn't in the video? You know what I mean? And not necessarily actors either, but let's just try and be different. When we did a
Yeah.
video for Mirror Mirror, I was like, I remember this Pantera video. Can't remember which video, Mouth for War. And I was
Right.
a huge Pantera fan. And it was super raw and black and white. And I was like, that's what this video needs to be
Yeah.
because it was all about the connections, right? And so getting into the art of it was like I wanted to do something different for the band and I wanted to visually look different and I wanted to send messages from top to bottom that this
Yeah.
is in a very emotional thing for me and
Yeah.
also something that I want to mean something heavy to a lot of people and I want it to be personal in a lot of ways because I want you to hear the song and feel like that's my song.
Yeah.
That's my dude. He knows what he knows.
Well, I think you're right. I think, well, it's incredibly visually impactful. Absolutely, the video is. But
Awesome.
in terms of, you know what, I've written a bit of stuff down here, and I've kind of
Mhm.
got to read it from here because I think people will find it interesting. You've covered some of it in what you've said, and then there's a little bit that relates back to a few more things that you said. But I lifted a bit off your website, and I think it sums
Okay.
it up beautifully. It was a perfect little description where you said the curse is the soundtrack for those fighting and clawing through life, letting the anvil of negativity and the weight of carrying it go, searching for peace while finding yourself and destroying your demons and putting them behind you. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. And it sums it up beautifully. Now, also, I wanted to follow that up as well by referring to some that you touched on your personal life and stuff, and without going into any personal details. Um, Obviously, you said that you found that you were inspired by what had gone in your life to bring that into your writing, and that helped bring your spark back. So the two sort of helped each other. And I thought as well, there's a little quote because I think you're absolutely right. I think everybody can relate, and I think musicians in particular. But the quote that you said was, "For the first time, rather than speaking to the song, I let the song speak to me." I had never written lyrics that were a parallel of my life. Then I realized I have a voice, and I need to be a voice for the voiceless. And I was
Yeah,
like, that just puts it absolutely beautifully. And I think that for me, it explains, and like you just said, why your lyrics do seem to really resonate with people. So it is something to be incredibly proud of.
thank you.
Definitely. And actually what I'll do is I think it's probably time I read Tina's review out. So
That'd be awesome.
yeah, well we've mentioned Tina. She's obviously a really, really close friend.
TT.
Hey, we do it again. My little heart thing. But Tina's a really close friend of mine and also my partner in crime. We always call each other partner in crime from MMH Radio, and obviously she's now set up as early bird PR as well. Little plug for her there. But what
My
we'll do
girl.
is this interview will be published as like a bit of a interview review combo. So I love the way Tina writes about tracks, and what she's put is that she thinks it's a solid, mean, and moody hard rock intro leading to the beautifully melodic and emotionally charged opening verse. It's getting harder to make sense of me. I'm not the person that I'm supposed to be. And she says Norman's vocals really convey the gravity of words. And then he kicks it up a level into a
Awesome.
monster of a chorus. It's so ruthless. The curse, like a fire, it burns. There's a monster that lives in me. I'm trying not to sing it, so I'm trying to just read it like a poem
Right.
because I'm
I'm
not. I'm
singing
not
it
going
with
to.
you.
I don't want to kill it for everybody. Um, and then obviously she goes on to say back into a haunting second verse with the killer delivery of line, unsure of purpose, nervous of fate, and she's put, oh, gives me chills. Um, and then like
That's
she
awesome.
said, as if that wasn't enough, cue Jimmy Beattie, the highly regarded guitarist of Heavy Hitters seasons after. He guests on this track to shred an insane guitar solo, taking it up to another level. Add that to the solid, interesting, heavy beats of drummer Michelle Graves, keeping this all together. There is just so much to listen to here. I'm in heaven, or is it hell, or both? The dynamics are ridiculous. We're up then down, dark then light, soft then hard. Listening to the curses like being on the perfect musical roller coaster. And that's exactly how it feels to be experiencing the feelings talked about in this song, too. This track is amazing me in so many ways. Uh,
That's awesome.
I know, isn't that lovely? And she also says, touted for fans of I Prevail, Motionless in White, Linkin Park, Papa Roach. It's time we saw the name as strange as able as angels right up there with those.
Yeah,
So there we
that's
go.
awesome.
So I mean, we've talked a lot. Is there anything, any comments, anything you want to say before I add my thoughts?
What's crazy is how she tapped into. There's one line in there. Am I in heaven or am I in hell? Right. That's a, couldn't be a more perfect explanation of where I was at when
Right.
writing that song. Because you come to these crossroads of like you're trying to figure everything out
Mm,
in life, and you've got that struggle. You're growing out of one skin, growing into a new skin. You're wondering how you got to the place that you were. How'd you what caused you to make the decisions you did and decisions you didn't, and
mm.
just that whole questioning, right? And that's like kind of that monster that's in all of us at certain points in life. I feel like we all run across that, right?
Yeah.
And and a big one that I see with a lot of people is not being able to put the past where it belongs, either for themselves or even for other people. It's like sometimes I feel like we want to carry that black cloud
Yeah.
over our heads of something that you're like, man, that was 20 years ago. What does it even
Yeah.
matter anymore? Like, and at what point does it become our fault? Right? You're like, now it's your fault because no one's putting that on me. I continually put that on me, right?
Yeah.
So that's that anvil that just like presses on you, and you do like. I mean, there was an old show on MTV here called Headbangers Ball,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and Ricky Rackman used to say, "One fist in the gutter, one foot in the gold," or something like that.
Uh,
And I must have been like 10 or something, but it always stuck with me because it always resonated with me, and I related to something like that.
yeah.
Where I always felt that way, right? Like there's this push and pull, in life. And with the songs, I really try to embrace it because I'm like, I can't imagine that there isn't anyone else that doesn't feel this way,
Yeah.
that doesn't have whatever internal struggle it is for them, um, or external as well. Like we've all just got something pressing on us. We've got some sort of little curse that we feel like we're cursed, right? You're like, why
Yeah.
do I always have bad luck in
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever this is or that is, right? And so to be able to like pull that out, which was scary for me because I used to never write songs from a personal perspective
Yeah.
because I didn't want someone to think that sometimes people don't understand the art of it, right?
Mm.
So on the outside, so they think like, oh, that's the kind of person that he is, or something. And I'm like, no, it's kind of like musical theater. We do a little song and dance, right?
Mm.
At least that's how I felt. But now I'm like, just going through the things I have, I'm like, man, I really need to use this in a way. So the fact that she taps in to all of that, um, it's like she's a mind reader. It's weird, and I think
Yeah.
that's been the connection we have had, right? Where you're
Yeah.
like, she has said, like the song, it's like you wrote it for me or something like that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's what I want it to feel like for people. Because if I can't do anything else good in life, I want to be able to have that to live on.
Yeah.
And even for my son, like I want someone to be like, dude, your dad's music right
Yeah.
here, man.
I'm sure there's no better compliment actually, because I mean, there's music for all different things, isn't there? That's music that's just fun. I'm sure Steel Panther
Right.
don't get the same sort of reviews when they talk about orgy in an old folks' home, or that sort of thing, or Asian hooker. There are songs that are there for fun. There are songs that are there to tap into emotion. There are
Mhm.
songs that are there to kind of get you pumped and excited and stuff like that. And there is something for everybody and for all emotions that we go through. And I think what you identified there, you make a choice when you put your emotion and your own heart into the music, because it does expose you and it does expose a vulnerability, which possibly
Yeah.
again is kind of scary because you're putting yourself out there. But at the same time, what you get back is people going, "Thank goodness you did," because I feel like this. I can relate to this. I feel like somebody finally gets what I'm going through and has expressed it in a way that I can understand. And for some reason, we all find solace in that when we need to. I'm absolutely sure anybody that you speak to that's passionate about music can could tell you exactly what songs resonated with them at some of the worst times of their life, as
Right.
much as they could the ones that make them feel incredible and that they can go, that concert was amazing when they came on with that song. But those moments, those dark places that you go to, for me, it's always been music that gets me through. It's always been, and I have my own techniques, and sometimes I use it in reverse. I'll use a track that just makes me sing very, very loudly to get me. But it kind of it does something to your brain, doesn't it? It tricks your brain into feeling a bit more adrenaline and feeling feeling more happy than you are. So there's different things that people do, but music's just there's nothing like it for that. There's nothing else like music for making you feel something.
Yep.
I just think
It's
it's
it, it
incredible.
it really is. It's the soundtrack to our lives, right? We all
Yeah.
connect a
Yeah.
song to a moment. We all will hear something out of nowhere. I know every time I hear Paradise City from Guns N' Roses, I pop off. No matter what mood I'm in, right? I'm like, that's
Mm.
my jam. So
You
it's
have got
just
a few like that.
yeah, it's weird that we have that, and so just I love that review. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I should hire her to just like speak for me now.
No, she's brilliant at it, and well, as I say, her review comes from the heart as well because she really loves the music, and I've got a few. I mean, my final thoughts are probably not as eloquently put as Tina's, but we've talked about it a lot, and I did feel like there's probably not a lot more I can add, but to summarize my what I love is the overall vibe of the band and the track in particular. It's heavy, but it's melodic, and that's right up my street. And I
That's
think
awesome.
lyrically, it's sophisticated, it's deep, but it's also instantly catchy, and it's definitely got the earworm factor as well. And I think, again, the more I listen to the lyrics, the more poignant they are, and whatever the current situation, I'm sure everyone can relate. Whatever anyone's current situation,
Right.
like we've said, they can relate to the feelings and emotions that you bring into that song because evidently it comes from the heart. It's honest, it's genuine, it's got that realness factor, and that's what makes it
Thank you.
captivating and inspiring, I think. Um, And I would add to that that the curse is probably my favourite one of your tracks, and that's not just because
Oh,
we're
thank you.
talking about it today. I think it's just a lucky coincidence, actually, because the more I've listened to all of the tracks, I keep coming back to the curse and going, yeah, there's just something about it that really grabs me. The others do as well, but I love it. So I'm glad we got to talk about it. So
That's awesome.
so I
Thank you
wanted to
so much.
say a thank you for the music.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing what
Some
you do because we appreciate it. Fans appreciate it.
Well, sometimes you got to put the hurt to work. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
mm,
And turn it into something. And
yeah,
my big thing too was like, how can we make it positive?
yeah,
The one thing that I was really big on, and you can ask Michelle about this, was like I didn't want to say anything that I had been through. I didn't want to be negative. I was like, let me take that element out because I think we all need a little bit more of just positivity, right? Positive reinforcement somehow, right? Where you
yeah,
can talk about the issue at hand, but press forward
yeah,
rather than just live in the black cloud, right? Live with the
yeah,
anvil on you. Um, and there was no other way to get it out. But like, I mean, there were times I would be writing and I couldn't stop myself. Like it would feel like someone had stuck a hook like in my heart, right? And it just like was yanking words out of my mouth because I
yeah,
was like, I am not that good at speaking or expressing my emotions. I'm like, how in the world is this just coming out of me? And it was like, it was magical at times. And it almost really felt like someone had put it in me to get it out. And
yeah,
I wasn't even really in control of it, right? So
yeah, yeah.
it's been a very interesting process for sure.
Oh wow. Oh, okay. Well, it's an interesting process. It's an interesting song to talk about. And the band is an interesting band to talk about. So I'm
Thank you.
absolutely captivated. I'm loving all of this.
Thank you so much.
So we've probably covered about as much as we can of the curse. I don't think there's more we can say. So, couple of sensible questions, and then we'll try a few random ones. What about that? So,
I'm excited.
in terms of touring, then, have you got any plans, or are you just literally waiting to see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, we're waiting to see what happens. We have
Mhm.
had, again, a couple, festival offers in the works that have now just been kind of they're trying to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah.
I've been chomping at the bit that could actually happen because oh my
Mhm.
gosh, like I have been dying to get back over the pond, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Because playing in the UK, man, it's just been one of my like most favorite things ever to
Yeah.
do. I think one of my biggest highlights. I remember even playing the Underworld in London,
Yeah. 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 Camden.
and for me that was huge. Yeah, Camden Town, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta get it right. See,
Yeah.
and I just there's so many good memories out there. So many people that I like have been reconnecting
Mm.
with over the years that have been finding the new project, which has been super exciting too. And there's a real feels like it's boiling over there for us. Like everyone's interested in us coming back. There was fans of what we were doing before, so it's really exciting to see all of it
Mm.
come together. But yes, I mean, I'm sure if there's a chance for us to go on tour, we're definitely going to do it, and I'm hoping a festival season.
Oh, fingers crossed. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah,
that would be amazing. We'll get you over.
because that would just be good news for everybody all around, right?
Yeah,
Not
we'll
just
get you
us,
out into the regions as well because London's all
right?
right, but it's a big city, so you need to come out and see Birmingham and some of the
I
regions.
loved Birmingham. Oh my! I have so many stories with every place we have played. I was
Ah,
like, just so you said captivated earlier. I was like, every time in the UK, like every stop, I was always completely like just in awe. I remember being in like Wales,
yes.
and it was like the club was like in a castle or something. It was the craziest thing.
Oh, yeah.
We were on. I forget what it was called, but it was with this band Revoker, who
Right.
Jamie is now the bass player for Bullet for My Valentine.
Right.
And which, by the way, we're always talking about trying to get our two boys in a band together since they're relatively the same age. So we're like, two, need
Oh,
to put them in a band together. I think it would be awesome. But I remember being in Wales and like Cardiff, right?
yeah.
Yeah, see, I remember. And
Yeah.
that was one of the coolest shows ever. And I just kept sitting there like, we're in a castle, dude. Like, this is crazy.
That's incredible.
Um, but I love it out there. I
Yeah.
really do.
Wales is beautiful as well, as is Scotland, as is Yorkshire. I mean, it is
Mhm.
beautiful. It's a beautiful little country, cold, drizzly, rainy, which I know you love. So,
I love that. I love that.
yeah, we got plenty of that for you. All right then. So, Have you all right, one final question then, which have you learned or done anything, because of lockdown and all of the weird situation that has happened, have you picked up any random new hobbies? Anything you've never done before that you, like, gave a try?
Slept.
Oh, there we go. Hey. Yeah, I think
I'm
I
like,
got less sleep because I kept staying up all the time when I wasn't at work.
yeah, see, I was
Naughty.
like, for me, I was like, hey, let's give this a try. I haven't done it in a long time. Between being a single, I mean, a dad, a single parent, and just being creative, you
Yeah.
tend to just kind of like have the most ridiculous hours ever, right? Um, so that's kind of like that was interesting, and probably the video,
Yeah.
getting into video, doing like because it is an entirely although creative, it is an entirely different beast altogether.
Yeah.
The amount of time and work that goes into it is just mind-boggling. So I applaud anyone that makes
Mm.
video on
I've
any
gotta
level
say,
because that stuff is work, man.
it is hard work, and I don't dabble in video editing myself, which is why when I do interviews, we have to just get it right first time because I have not got the skill or the know-how to edit this down. So if we make any mistakes, they're staying in. Any bloopers, they stay in. It's all fine.
Right? Let's see. I'm trying
It's
to
all
think. That
fine.
that would probably be it because I just put the pedal to the metal with the creative. Yeah, nothing really interesting. I wish I did. Maybe read a few more books than I would.
Oh, that's good. I baked
Sebastian
a cake.
Bach's book.
Yeah.
Basically, you learn to bake.
I started baking cakes. I mean, I only did a few. I messed the first
Yeah.
I've gotta say the first one, messed that up hilariously. It was more of a half cake, half biscuit. You wouldn't think anyone could mess a cake up, but I managed to.
Could you make a cake with the cover art of the curse on it, the two eyes? That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna pass that one over to Tina. She's good at stuff like that. I haven't got the patience, but
Really?
if it was you know
All
what?
right.
If it was one of those where you just printed it and slapped it on, but that's cheating because you can do that. You can print art and
Yeah.
stick it on
Yeah.
icing.
Nothing's cheating. You got to do the art and do all the stuff and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
get it done right.
Yeah, it won't happen. I could pretend, but I'm not gonna lie. That would be mean. No, great idea though. I could get a pair of googly eyes and stick them on the cake instead of the sexy eyes that you've got.
Right.
Just stick googly eyes.
Right.
Uh, you can tell it's about to get weird, you see. You can see I'm brewing it up for it. So, all right, there's a couple of less weird questions, and then we'll go into a few weird ones. So,
Okay.
in the film of if there was gonna be a film of your life, who would you have play you?
That's
Mm.
a good question.
I always think I should pre-warn people actually with that question because it sometimes requires quite a bit of thought.
Well, you know what's funny is I have actually thought about it. Ever since The Dirt came out,
Yes, that's why I
I
put
was
the question in.
yeah, I was like, I wonder. The thing is, I think you're like maybe we think of ourselves as one way, but people perceive us another way. So I'm like, I would think Brad Pitt should play me in his young days,
Yeah, no,
right? But
don't
you're like,
forget.
probably not even in the same ballpark, and it's more like Pauly Shore or something. But
No, I would pick Brad Pitt any day of the week because the thing is, this is made up stuff anyway. So you've got to pick someone you think is cool as fuck. I would pick the best person. I would say I'd pick Kate Beckinsale just because she's better. So why wouldn't I?
yeah,
People don't
right. See,
believe in me.
yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'll go with Brad Pitt.
Go with Brad Pitt.
Not because of the
Yeah,
looks, though, because
he's a
he
very good
plays so many
actor.
different
Yeah,
characters. Yeah, and I feel like he could, like when he did Fight Club, and he did Seven, and he has like this dark side to him,
he does. Yeah,
right? That I'm like, ooh, okay, and I feel like he can get into that artsy brain, not
yeah.
because I think I'm so handsome. Brad Pitt looks like me. No, no, no. He's got a real just dark thing to him. He always has. And
Okay.
then that'd probably be it, maybe narrated by like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, of course. Well, if ever we get to make this happen, please can I meet Brad Pitt?
Absolutely. Can I
Because
meet him?
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put this interview in the story of your life, and I can interview Brad Pitt, and he can pretend to be you. I'm a genius.
Done. Boom.
Boom.
We
Amazing.
nailed it.
Absolutely. All right, cool. So, okay, are you ready for some weird questions?
Absolutely.
All right then. What would
Make
be
them
the
good.
most what would be the most inappropriate movie to remake as a porno?
The most inappropriate movie. Huh. You know what? You joke about this stuff all the time, like sitting in a tour bus bored for hours, right? Now that you
Yeah.
ask me, I'm like,
This is
you
where I
come up
nick
with
some of these questions from. I listen in and I go,
yeah, see? Well, yeah, you get bored and you think of stupid stuff, you know? You're like, dude, what would you do if, right?
yeah.
Or
Oh
this,
yeah,
this or that.
we're going on to
Yes.
would you rather. We've got those. They're
Would
coming.
you rather? Yes. Okay.
Brace yourself.
Wow. I don't know. Maybe I don't know something with the Ninja Turtles.
That would be hideous and ridiculous. So yes, that would be massively
Yeah.
appropriate. Yeah, let's go with
Yeah.
that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I mean, all right. Right.
In fact, if you've ever heard, no, it's tortoises, but if you ever heard the noise tortoises make when they're having sex, it would be a
No.
very, very traumatic porno. It's sort of like a squeak. It sort of goes, eh. I'll have
Oh,
to,
you know what? Honestly, I have now that I think about it, because I took my son to the zoo when he was like
I can't wait
3,
for this story.
and there were these huge I still have I think the video is even like on my Instagram now that I think about it. There were these 2 huge tortoises, right? One on top of
Yeah.
the other, and they were like, "Eek, eek," and my little boy says, "Daddy, it sounds like they're having a battle." And I was dying. I was like, "Well, they're definitely
Yes,
at
they
odds, son."
are. Yeah.
You're right. They do sound terrible. You are right. I didn't think about that. Wow, that's crazy.
That's
Money.
perfect.
Look at us go again. There
See
you go.
how that's worked. That's incredible. Okay. Let's go for would you rather then. So would you rather have the keys to the General Lee or to Knight Rider's kit? And you can have the car as well. When I say the keys to it, means you get in it and drive it. People keep coming back at me and going, I want the whole car. So,
I loved the Dukes, man, but Knight
oh,
Rider. Come on.
yeah, I know. Every day
I'd
of the week.
I'd be I'd look dope in kit. Come on now.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing, and I like to ask the question just to get people to think about it, but I think it's been unanimously voted as Knight Rider's kit all the time. That'd be
Really
my choice
awesome.
as well. But the General Lee's still cool. You're right. All right, then. Would you rather have this? Here's one that's more thought provoking. Would you rather
Okay.
have the power of invisibility for only 15 minutes a month, or the power of mind control for one day a year?
Mind control.
So, what mayhem would you get up to in one day a year?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. There's a lot of like, yeah.
There's lots you could do, isn't there?
I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I can't do anything in 15 minutes as it
Yeah,
is.
that's true.
So
Because you'd have to
yeah,
get somewhere, then put the cloak of invisibility on, then quickly run around robbing a bank or whatever you decided to do, and then run out and
yeah,
hope
I'm over
that,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
and
it's not long enough.
yeah,
We'll
no,
have to change the question, but that's the
yeah, you
question.
go. Yeah, no, I definitely go with mind control.
Okay, then. Would you rather have vaginas for ears or penises for arms? I know. I told you they'd get weirder.
I'm gonna go with ears because I mean, guess I could still listen to my music very nicely. And I couldn't really do anything with my arms, right? So I couldn't play guitar.
That's true. You'd have to have some sort of hook created, wouldn't you? But
Yeah, I mean, you'd have some like crazy T-Rex action going on. So yeah, no.
all right, then we'll go with vaginas for ears. Then you might have to grow your hair
There you
too,
go.
so you don't frighten anybody. Grow.
Cover it. No way, man. Show it off, dude.
All right then. Okay, I'm going to do two more because they do. This one's not too weird. Would you rather cry every time you have sex or burp every time someone kisses you? I laugh at my own questions. Honestly, I'm such a child.
Well, that's a funny one. I'm a crier. Um, so I guess burp. Keep it real.
Keep it real. Just burping. All right. Final one then.
Okay.
If you've ever been asked this question before, I will give you £1 million. Would you rather have a 12-inch belly button that sways to the music or accordions for legs?
Wow.
I know.
You know what's worse about that is like that is pretty thought provoking
Yeah.
because I mean, with the accordions for legs, you'd kind of go up. That'd be kind of fun, right? And you're like,
Making music wherever
yeah,
you go. Yeah. How
yeah.
cool would that be?
A 12-inch belly button? That'd be kind of annoying.
Sways to the
I'm gonna
music.
go with the accordions for legs.
Ah, you're going to make music wherever you go. I like it.
There you go. What would you choose?
Belly button.
Really?
Only because
12 inches though.
I
That's
think I could strap it down.
ginormous.
I had to.
right?
I couldn't wear
That'd
my
be
fancy.
great.
I
How
tell
much
you
is
what.
12 inches though?
The deciding
Like,
factor
geez.
there is my fancy stage pants. You might get to know at some point. I have a thing. I've got lots of fancy, like people call them stage pants, but spandex, lycra, some really cool stuff. I wouldn't be able to fit my accordions in them, and that would ruin my whole collection.
Mm.
So, hence, I could tuck the belly button away when there wasn't any music that it was swaying to. Plus, I could put a little hat on it. we could
Okay, well then there you
fun with
go.
it. Yeah, at
You
Christmas,
can,
it would have a little Christmas hat on, and perhaps in the summer, little bow. I don't know.
but like, which way is the 12-inch?
I
That's
think
my question.
well,
Protruding or up and down?
it might look like I'd got a willy, mightn't it? That might be a really bad thing. Oh no, I haven't thought that.
Yeah, see?
It's a good job I'm not being interviewed and having to come up with these questions that will stand for life. Uh,
Right?
well, that is about as weird as I can possibly get. I can't think of any more questions that are any weirder than that. So, on that note, I'm going to kind of just ask you one more question to just wrap it all up. But what would you really love to happen next for this band? What would be the sort of dream if you could dream big? Doesn't have to be realistic. Say whatever you like.
To get back on the road,
Mm,
play some stadiums while we're at it. Yeah,
yeah,
right. Yeah, right. Because the message is impacting that many people and really making a difference. That would be
yeah.
huge for me
Uh,
to really have something that just drove it home for a lot of people and could help them with their own stuff in their
yeah,
own lives. Like that would be massive, massive, massive to me.
yeah. Well, you probably
And having my little boy on tour with me, that'd be great. Have him in a
eh,
tour bus.
absolutely. Well, I don't think you're far off achieving that, to be fair. I mean, I know stadiums
Thank
is
you.
is a huge word to say, but in terms of the rest of it and the connection with people, I mean, it's you're only live shows away from doing that anyway, because that's happening as it is. And if we could just get some live shows on the go, then almost all of that dream is going to become reality.
Right. And then you
Get
could
some
wear
stadiums.
your 12-inch, you could wear your 12-inch belly button to the
I'll
show.
be there. Front row, you'll see the belly button and it'll distract you and you'll just forget all your words. You'll be like, no, the belly
I'm just trying to think with 12, I'm just like, that is a lot of belly button.
button. Absolutely. It's about a foot, isn't it? 12 inches.
Yeah.
We
That's all
can
I'm
we
like,
can measure things with it.
for real. Let me borrow you for a second.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Norman. It's been
Thank you
absolutely
very much. I
catching up
appreciate it
with
very
you.
much.
Really, really interesting, really, really insightful, and incredible. So, I mean, we probably could talk for a lot longer, but
Absolutely.
let's wrap it up because you know what? I'm sure there'll be another time, another single, another time, maybe an album or something, so we can do it all over again. I'll have to come up
Love
with
it.
some weirder questions for you.
Right.
Um,
I'll come up with some questions for you.
all right.
That'll be the twist.
Yeah, you'll be prepared next time, won't you?
There you go. I will.
Uh, well, thanks for watching, everybody out there. I've been Caz Parker for MMH, the home of rock radio, with Norman Matthew of As Strange as Angels. And I hope everybody
Thank
out
you.
there has enjoyed this as much as I have. And if you have, go and buy the curse. If you haven't already done it, go and download the single from all reputable streaming sites. Go to the website, check it out, order the CD. Do it now, people. Thank you.